Refuge Worldwide.
Refuge Worldwide.
Refuge Worldwide.
What we're saying, people. Welcome back to Must Be the Music with me, OKCandice, right here on Refuge Worldwide. As always, it's a pleasure to be back. Going to be with you for the next hour or so, getting into some tunes, some vibes. But more importantly, I have a special guest here with me today. The DJ, producer, artist, turntablist who goes by the name of Mantus or Psykhomantus, depending from how far back you know him. And yeah, we're going to get into some of his tunes today, talk a little bit about his career, his work, some of his projects, and what he's got in store for us lucky listeners. But for now, before we get into the chat, enjoy this song by him and Reon Vangèr. The song is called Running. Enjoy. That was Running by the brilliant Mantus and Reon Vangèr. And lucky for you, I have the brilliant Mantus in the studio here with me today. Hi Mantus, how are we doing?
I am fine, thank you, and thank you for having me on your show.
Hey, no problem. It's been a long time coming, I feel. Long time coming. I feel like I first met you, I don't know if you remember this, but I first met you a couple of years ago now at a birthday party. And we were introduced to each other by an artist and mentor of mine who goes by the name of Vanley Burke, and who also introduced me to another artist who goes by the name of Lekon Babalola. And that's how we came to know each other and converse. And I got to learn about your skills and your history as a DJ, as an artist, as a turntablist. And it's been a journey and a pleasure to watch this journey online primarily, but I've seen you play a couple of sets. But either way, it's a joy to know you and to know your work. So thank you for joining me today. Before we get into you and your career and how you approach the decks, I really want to hear about running. How did running come about?
Oh, wow. Running was inspired by another project, a broken beat project called Shall I Brock It by underground artist from London. And I've been always wanted to dabble in that since I was coined the original Brook Beat turntablist, because I am truly a hip hop DJ, and you know, I just played funk, soul, breaks, as well as rap records. And since I'm also known for being in the DJ battle scenes, I kind of like was always playing around, doing beat juggling stuff with broken beat records, how the same way that I would do with hip hop records. So when me and Reon Vangèr got together to create the Brook Refresh EP, this is basically the second track we made from the EP. And I've always wanted to play with Earth, Wind and Fire's song, and that's why this one was in there, because it was soulful. It's a classic song anyway, and it was like, it's definitely a dance floor filler. And yeah, we just went for the go for that one. That was like our second one out of the 6, plus a bonus track, EP from the Brook Refresh EP.
It's a brilliant EP, and I'm so grateful and glad that I got to listen to it. And also like to have this music coming out of 2 Birmingham-based artists. I'm always trying to big up Birmingham on this show, by the way. So if you hear me shout out 0121 a lot, that's the reason why. I also want to talk about your collaboration with Reon and the Brook Refresh project. When did you meet Reon, and what was it about him and his approach to production or DJing that made you think, yeah, a collaboration between us two could work?
Well, it was his brother. I knew his brother. His brother goes by the name of DJ Megastress, who is no longer here. He's passed away. But when he was telling me that he had a younger brother that was into, and I quote these words that DJ Megastress says, that he's into this weird stuff like you. And he meant like the black electronica stuff. And I was like, okay, because DJ Megastress was strictly a hardcore hip hop head, you know. And then, I think it was 2017 that he brought him over to a club that I was playing at. And, I was like, cool. So as the years went by, Megastress passed away. And, I kept telling Reon, come over to the place, because this is what Mega wanted me to do, is like push him to meet the people that I worked with or inspire and stuff. And I thought, I'm going to hold on to this promise that Megastress told me to, and, you know, give Reon a push in the direction of the people that I know that could help, because he fits it. He's a young, inspiring, and I think he's ahead of his time on his productions at the age he is. And I feel like there's so many gatekeepers in this world. I was like, no, this guy needs to be heard. He needs to be up there now. Because I know when I was his age, I've always dreamed of wanting to be out there, and that was it. That's how I got to meet him.
That's amazing. Big up Reon, and obviously R.I.P. to Megastress. Thank you for laying a foundation for a beautiful collaboration to happen. It's incredible when family members or people in your circle can kind of recognize where talent lies and where talent can go, and making sure we have instruction to kind of fulfill that potential. So I want to big up both of them. That's a blessing. Very quickly, before we get into the nitty gritty of stuff, you mentioned that you were dubbed or coined the original broke beat, turntablist. For those that are unfamiliar, explain the feeling or the energy behind broke beat or broken beat. I feel like a lot of people have their different approaches to it, whether you're a jazz head or a soul head, or whether you kind of grew up around West London, you were part of that original scene. But for those that maybe, and you mentioned the term black electronica or black electronic music. So from your standpoint as a turntablist, like what is the energy or the impetus behind broken beat? Like what can people expect sonically from the sound?
Wow. That's a big question. Right. So what is broken? Yeah. Broken beat is, the beat is broken, first of all, from a genre that you probably recognize, because broken beat has everything in it. I'll say this, it has jungle in it, it has drum and bass in it, it has Brazilian music in it, it has reggae, all infused and made in a hip hop state of mind, because it's, these producers that got together, they're all from a background of what they're known for the genres they're originally from, and created this monster, yes, in West London. So, we're talking the whole original Co-op Massive, Afronaut, Mark Force, IG Culture, Digo from the Four Heroes, Mark Mac as well, Mark DiClilo, rest in peace to Phil Asher, that whole clip, Daz IQ, the whole Bugs in the Attic, Segway. It's, these guys created this monster that is still not being recognized up to this day. And this was late 90s all the way to the noughties. I would say it kind of like went a bit quiet towards, the late noughties. That to me was the original broken beat. And, that's the best way for me to describe it. As for myself, it was actually culture that coined me the original book beat turntablist, because I was juggling and beat, the way I would juggle hip hop records or soul records. No one ever has done that with broken beat. And I did, and I was doing that. So that's why I got coined that. And I thought, you know what? I'll take that with me. So it's basically, it's house music to make you dance to, really and truly. It's that same environment. It's just music to make you dance to. And I will say this from my perspective, from me being a hip hop head. From when I got introduced into hip hop and the clubs I used to go to, it was just strictly dancers, whether it was break dancers or people doing the up rock and stuff. It was a place for people to, one, feel safe, and one, to dance. It was our language, our culture. Broken beat to me was a second awakening. And I got into, I found out about broken beat, I'm going to say 2003 or 2004. My friend Luby from Leicester, DJ Luby, he told me about this thing. We went to Plastic People, because that was, I think, the second home for where broken beat was laid, and hearing all the, you didn't even know what the tracks were. You just felt the rhythm. You went in there. You didn't question. There was none of this request, because no one knew what they was getting, because you'll guarantee what you're hearing at this gig, you might not hear at the next one, because you've been introduced to something else. And these are not even released tracks. So to me, I looked at that as a second coming for me to, like, this is what I missed, because hip hop at the time, that was done. The way I was born into hip hop was totally done. And it also reminded me of how the original roots of, reggae, when they played dub, because that was it. It was just dub tracks and DJs going against each other saying my sound is better than yours. And broken beat took it there, but with a whole heap of the genre music you do recognize, but broken. And that's what made that, to me, still the creative. Nothing is touching that. Yeah, drum and bass and grime and all that stuff is getting the highlight, but it's like, it's not as creative as broken beat.
That was very comprehensive. Thank you very much. No, I really enjoyed that. It was a brilliant and beautiful approach to think about the interconnectedness of music and sound, and how these different genres overlap, but also how people can sonically think creatively about where these genres overlap and how we can chop them up and create a new sound. So why don't we listen to some of that new sound that you've chopped up and created? This is another track that you did with Reon. It's called In This Life, and it's a banger, so I hope that people enjoy. Oh,
it's a Colonel Red. This is a remix that we did for Colonel Red. So this is the remix version, which is his original version is on his album, which we did do the productions for. But yes, it's In This Life or This Life by Colonel Red, who's from Birmingham.
Brilliant. Enjoy.
For the lonely when you're the only other give me nothing but love. Give me nothing but love. Give me nothing but love. You 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 give me nothing but 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 love. Nothing but give me nothing but love. Give me nothing but 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 nothing but give me nothing but love.
Yes, this is OKCandice, must be the music, Refuge Worldwide. We're here today in the studio with the brilliant Psykhomantus, Mantus. You've just been listening to In This Life, a collaboration between Mantus and Reon Vangèr for Colonel Red. And I was told, as we were playing, this is an exclusive, exclusive. We're just saying apparently this is not the one that's on the record. This is not the record cut. This is an exclusive remix of the remix of the remix of the remix of the remix. So how lucky and how blessed are we to have this today. But yeah, talk to me about this collab. You were saying that you were thinking about how this song was actually made. So how did you and Reon go about this banger? How did that come about?
Well, the relationship with me and Colonel Red, we literally always, we always messing around on the phone, just catch and joke. And he was in the middle of just doing his new album that he put together all by himself and arranged. And he asked, if we could do a remix with this one track. So this version you heard with we sent him this and he was like, no, he's going to have to stop the people that was actually pressing his records. He said he needs this drums. He wants this version because his original version does not sound like this. So we sent him this one, but he says, we need to do another one where he has this intro because he has this long intro before the beat comes in. That's the one on the album. So, but yeah, he literally stopped his record label to don't press the version he wanted. He wants this version to be on the album, which is, that's the story and stuff. So, and I was just literally thinking this version was not supposed to be on there, on the album at all.
Love an exclusive. And big ups to Colonel for being like, you know what? I recognize talent when I hear it. Let's have it. Let's have it the way we want it to be. I also want to ask in the spirit of that, how did you come to the decks? Was it an introduction by somebody else? Were you hanging around with elders and they said, oh, come, let me show you a little tutu things here? What was it that brought you to the decks and how did you first approach scratching and turntables?
Wow. Now we're going all the way back to the 1980s now. That is because I was a fan, and still am, but a fan of when hip hop was introduced into the UK. Because it's a big question. I'll say this. Because my father used to be a selector anyway, so I was surrounded by records all the time. In the house, it was reggae. My mum was into soca music. My grandparents was into gospel. Especially my grandparents, my parents couldn't play soul or reggae in their house. It was strictly gospel. So I'm showing my age now. So me being the kid in the 80s, so it was all of that. And obviously we had Top of the Pops. The pop music back in those days, I consider it good, even though I thought some of it was corny, but I thought it was it's better than the stuff that I'm hearing now. But anyway, I was always fascinated by the turntables. Hip hop came in. These DJs were rubbing the records backwards and forwards. Now you have to understand that was very futuristic thinking. What are they doing with these records? I recognized some of the breaks, especially James Brown's, and seeing him get 2 copies of the same records and looping it. You know, without that, we wouldn't have any of the technology that we have up to this day. So you can imagine me being this little kid that was going to junior school or primary school at the time, wanting to do that. Like I said, I was surrounded by records. My father had the record player. Obviously, I had to wait until he'd leave the house, because back in my days, the them couldn't touch the turntable, let alone touch it or scratch it. So, I was always fascinated with it, watching the rap groups. Now, back then, the DJ was the highlight. It wasn't really the rapper. It was the DJ in hip hop back in the day. So you had Grandmaster Flash of the Furious 5. You had Jam Master Jay for Run DMC. You had, Will Smith, aka the Fresh Prince, had DJ Jazzy Jeff, Cash Money and Marvelous. These are the DJs that I looked up to because they was using the turntables. If there was a rap group that didn't have a DJ, trust me, back then I was not listening to them. And that's what got me my drive until I got old enough to be surrounded by some real turntables, because I was collecting records, and obviously I wasn't listening to reggae. I'll say Musical Youth, obviously the group from Birmingham, that was the last reggae group for me that I was digging, because after that, in 1984, I was just collecting hip hop records, rap records, and that was my divorce from reggae, so to speak. And then and then when I finally got my turntables, I was watching a lot of DMC competitions. That's when the DJs were, it wasn't called turntablism, but that's what they're known as anyway. Got into the DJ battles and stuff, and that was always my dream, is to learn how to scratch, learn how to beat juggle, go in the competition. And I've always wanted to DJ for like a rap group and stuff. So it was my passion. I had this love for just being on 2 turntables and a mixer.
And that love shows, because you're incredible at what you do. And for those that aren't aware, you can go visit Mantus's Instagram or his YouTube channel, should I say. And you can see him showcasing his incredible scratching skills and DJing skills. And it's fascinating to watch. I mean, I was watching it today before we got into the studio to chat. And I was like, how do you do that? There's at one point you were getting a bit cheeky with it and you were playing with your nose. And I was like, how does one scratch with their nose? That's actually mad. So yeah, the skill level is high. And I highly recommend you going to watch that in your own time. But I also want to talk about like DJs. I think for me, I see them as like cultural historians, because they have to dig and ply from so many different sounds, even outside of hip hop. If you think about the birth of hip hop, the influence of like sound system culture from the Caribbean, specifically Jamaicans, and then looking specifically at like Black Americans in New York, as well as Latinos, and the combination of movement, of technology or new burgeoning technology, and then the combination of these different cultures coming together, like sonically and like politically, it was always going to be this sort of evolution of sound. And it's interesting, like how Black sound can travel across lands, experiences, ages, to kind of reach people in new spaces. So I'm grateful that it reached you in our little corner of the world. You mentioned before that you were listening to artists or groups that had a DJ, that the DJ was the sort of the cornerstone, or like the centerpiece, or the gravitas, the backbone, thank you, to these groups. And you were talking a bit about your experience of scratching, or understanding scratching and watching that. And like, what's the kind of fundamentals of scratching? What is it that a DJ is trying to kind of bring out of the music, or bring towards the music with scratching, in your opinion?
I would say for the DJ, that was our voice. We scratch with our hands. We use the turntable as a musical instrument, just like how a rock band would have a drummer and stuff. The hip hop artist would have the DJ. The DJ is the backbone of hip hop. Even outside of like just being an artist, we're the ones that played records for the B-boys and the B-girls to get down. We were the core for everything. I mean, obviously this is an American invention that they did in the Bronx. I mean, today is its birthday. It's its 52nd birthday today as we speak. So big up to Cool Herc for doing the party at his, I believe it's at his sister's house or something like that. But anyway, for me as a DJ, I mean, I just connect, that's me connecting with, it's hard to explain. It's just connecting. You feel the vibe. I mean, the one thing I forgot to say of being a fan of hip hop is because back in the days, it wasn't the fact like I just took that one element, because hip hop has like 4 elements. Yeah, there were the dancer, graffiti artist, or you wanted to rap. And back in our day, you did all the elements and you mostly just stick with the one you was good at. So I've always had this heart for DJing. But yeah, I rapped. I used to do a little break-in and stuff, and I wouldn't say I went as far as to doing graffiti, but I did have a tag name. If anything, it was D-A-R-E, Dare. That was technically my first name. The rapper's name was Sinister G. Then I became, the DJ name was Buster Scratch. And then I dropped the name to obviously Psykhomantus because of a PlayStation game, and that's it. And the recording artist is iMantus. But the DJing thing was like, again, I did mention earlier, it was this futuristic thing, the scratching, seeing, like I says, Grandmaster Flash, who was for the group, but it was more or less Jam Master Jay that was with Run DMC. But it was DJ Jazzy Jeff, for, the Fresh Prince, aka Will Smith. And there was another one who was also from Philadelphia, cause Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff, DJ Cash Money and Marvelous. Those two groups were the same. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was no difference to DJ Cash Money and Marvelous. They're both from Philadelphia, and they took they got real technical with the scratching. They took it to another level, and it just got higher and higher. DJ Scratch for EPMD took it to another level. DJ Premier from Gangstar put, like, you know, he made the scratching in the choruses for the songs like blend really well. The list goes on. It just kept going on, and I always just wanted to be a part of it until I saw the Executioners. Now, the Executioners, original, they're from, these are all guys from the States. They were originally known as the X-Men, but they had to, because of licensing of the name, they called themselves the Executioners, which is Steve D. Steve D is the innovator of the beat juggling. And then you've got Dr. Butcher, DJ Rock Raider, he's my favorite one. He's no longer with us. He passed away. Mr. Sinister, Rob Swift, and Total Eclipse. These guys, now we're talking 4 DJs on 8 turntables, and they're using it all as one to make a sound. I mean, you got the Invisible Scratch Pickles there, really wicked at scratching and stuff. But for me, it was about how these guys just made, it was like an orchestra on turntables. These guys took it beyond. And then I would say, and I think that's the reason why I would say in 1999, that's when I changed my name to Psykhomantus from Buster Scratch. That's when I really I want to just do this as a career. And it's helped build the person that I've become, just playing on 2 turntables, doing the scratching and doing a bit of body tricks. And as he says, I was doing the thing with the nose. It's just to showcase entertainment, but it's all about having fun. And to me, this is my freedom.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to approach sound, your freedom. And like you said earlier, this is how you express your voice. Yeah. After trialing rapping and breaking, and as someone who is a poet and a former breakdancer, I feel you. I don't think I could do what you do on the deck, so I'll stick to where my skill set lies. And I want to thank you for sharing your scholarly knowledge of the genres that have inspired you to do what you do today. Before we get more into the chat, I want to play another song for them, because you've produced such great music and you've been a part of some great remixes that I think the people deserve to hear it. So I might let you introduce this one if you don't mind. Okay. Tell us about this next song.
Right. This one is I Will Not by Afronaut. This is a remix because his original version came out, I think it was 10 years ago, and he wanted to refresh it. And there's like 5 different remixes. So he approached Afronaut from Bugs in the Attic, the legendary broken beat crew. He approached me and asked if me and Reon could do a remix of this. And I thought, yeah, so you're going to have some crazy scratches on this. So this is I Will Not, by Afronaut on Corporation Records.
I will not.
OKCandice, Must Be the Music, Refuge Worldwide. Here with the one and only Psykhomantus, Mantus, Broke Refreshed, I Will Not, Afronaut remix with Mantus, Reon, People Them. What a banging tune, what a banging track. Oh my gosh, standing here so nonchalant, and like the tunes are wicked and the scratching is incredible. Honestly, I wish I had that talent, that level of skill. But I'll stick to yapping on mics and chatting to artists over trying to become an original breakbeat turntablist. I'll leave that one to you. I'm really curious about your thoughts on where you think DJing has evolved, because we've talked a lot about the scholars behind hip hop and the evolution of hip hop through a DJ's lens, the digging, the actual skill of the machine and the equipment and how that evolves. But I'm curious about like where you think, as far as crate digging and being connected to scenes and movement, where do you think DJing has gone? And is it something that you are kin for, or is it something that you kind of just, you stay in your own lane and did your thing, and you're doing your thing very well, might I add. But I am curious about where you think DJing has gone.
It's still evolving. You have to remember, these are what's happening now is all started off with just 2 turntables and a mixer. From how I said earlier, the Grandmaster, well, I won't keep using Grandmaster Flash as an excuse, but he's obviously part of the puzzle. Grandmaster Flash did the quick mix. It just evolved. Another DJ created scratches, another DJ added the technique, and this is just using a basic mixer with 2 turntables that weren't even used in Technics turntables. Technics turntables became the one to get used. I'm sure today's also the SL1, or one of the SL turntables, because it was created in I might be wrong, but it's definitely it was in the late 70s of the models that as turntablist uses and still uses up to this day. And it amazes me how, Pioneer has now got a turntable that's very similar to the Technics, but it's like, look how many years it's taken these other turntables to be very similar to the Technics 1210s. And that answers itself within CDJs is basically trying to be the actual Technics turntable, to controllers. So I don't know what's next. Everything's all digital and stuff, but really truly everyone's kind of going back to vinyl and going back because the actual vibrations, the feel of the actual record, you can't beat that. I've got nothing against the fact that it has opened doors for people to go on an actual, equipment and, get their expressions out through music, whether it is through a controller or a CDJ, just turning up with an MPC. It's the fact MPC, I mean MP3. It's the fact you want to play music. Don't get me wrong. I do see a lot of doors open and there's some whack DJs out. I'm not going to lie, but as long as they learn the craft and get better, because you've got, as long as they're not just being a gimmick. And the way I learnt was we didn't have YouTube or anything like this, because you can just watch someone and then you could just mimic that person. Where back in the day, I would say, I can't speak for everyone else, but I could say for people of my generation, all we heard was the sound. We had to figure it out. And once we did figure it out, the one thing we learned once we figured it out, we've created something else. There's we've attempted 7 times until we're like, oh, that's how he or she did it. But the other 6, oh, but I did this, and it becomes your own. That's the beauty of it. Unfortunately, for people who can now see it on YouTube, they're literally just copying that person. They've not allowed them to learn something else by their mistakes. And most of these things are, the scratching, for crying out loud. It was Grand Wizard Theodore. I don't know if you heard the story. I'll say it now. It's like all he did was just have the record on hold because his mother was calling him. And when he turned back round, he pulled the record back. And that was your scratch sound you heard. And he thought it was pretty cool by just pushing the record forwards and backwards. He's like, oh, that's a cool sound. That was a mistake. That's because if his mum didn't call him, would we be scratching up to this day? We don't know. So seeing it develop to where we are now, it has its faults, but it has its advantages. If you've got the right mind for it and stuff, but it's amazing people are trying to use their mobile phones. That's where I draw the line. Like, bun the phone, DJ with a phone. That's not real.
You got to draw a line somewhere, and I respect that big time. But you mentioned that, that it is a craft at the end of the day. It is a skill, and it's a skill that has to be nurtured, and it has to grow with the material that interests you, whether it's the records that you buy, or like you mentioned, the evolution of the equipment, or the slow evolution of the equipment that allows DJs to do what they do. But at the end of the day, it is a skill and it is a craft. And I think it shows in the sonics, it shows in how people move or don't move when someone plays. It shows in the blends in the DJ set. And also selection is a big part of that. How do you tell a story with the sounds that you're playing? And I agree. I think there are some not so great DJs and there's some pretty good ones too.
I'll say this. I did forget to say this because you did ask. Because for me, I went out to buy records. So that means I had to literally go to the store. And me doing that was our network as well, because we were meeting people in a record store that's like got the same interest. Buying records. Obviously, I used to buy 2 copies because I wanted to do something. I knew I'm going to go home and try and create something. With hip hop as well. Like I said earlier, I was raised just listening to gospel music, reggae and calypso. I had no idea about jazz music because no one in my family was playing jazz music. Hip hop introduced me to jazz music. Hip hop introduced me to salsa and other genres. So that widened my brain a bit more and like, oh wow, and got to know what instruments they use in whatever their genres were. So the whole thing is about, as well as this whole thing is I'm glad you brought that up. The whole DJ equipment and stuff is a craft and an art form itself, but don't separate it from the music. Cause you do have these companies that will always create like, oh, we've got now a button that you can press where you don't have to do this physically. But that's taking your soul away. Cause it's all about the music. It ain't really about the equipment. It's all about the music and how you preserve it. So.
Wow, you heard it here first. It's all about the music. And we're on a show called Must Be the Music. So I echo those sentiments dearly. Before we get into what might be the last track, we're not sure yet. We'll see. We'll see how time goes on our side. I want to talk very, very quickly about a DJ collective potentially that you were in, or a turntable crew. Yeah, it's called A Few Good Men. And according to my research, it was started around 1998, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not above or below being corrected. But tell me who's in the crew and why and how did that come about? I really want to hear about that very quickly.
Right. So A Few Good Men, created by the founder of DJ Rock One and co-founder DJ Rise. Yes, 1998, I think that's when they started. It was just a duo. It was just those two. And then later on, EDD became the 3rd member. And I became the 4th member in somewhere in 2000. And then, the other 2 are no longer part of it. So it's just myself and the founder, DJ Rock One. So yeah, that's the 4 of us. We used to do like a couple of nights at Hare and Hounds in Birmingham. And yeah, we had like 4 turntables. Yeah, just like the Excuses, because we were all inspired by them and yeah, we did our thing and stuff. So it's just the 2 of us now, just 2 grumpy old men.
2 grumpy old men with some banging tunes though. So I don't know how grumpy you can stay for that long. When the music you play, honestly, it's so inspiring. It has an energy, it has a bounce to it. And I think that's the beauty of where hip hop has taken you and taken us as listeners and fans of music, is that you can have this thing that was kind of started by accident, as you mentioned, and now it's developed into so many offshoots and so many subcultures and genres. And I think before we got onto chat today, we were having a chat about the influence of jazz, at least in the Birmingham context, and how jazz within like the UK, there was a real heart of it here, the scene of it here in terms of its practitioners and musicians. And other genres sort of crept in and maybe ousted them. And now you see in London, for example, in, I would say, the last 10 years, a huge wave of incredible musicians and, you know, what's been dubbed now the South London jazz scene. And then that's spawned many a festival. We've got like Jazz Refreshed, South London Jazz Festival. We've got We Out Here, which is coming up very, very soon. There's so many different spaces now, not in Birmingham, that celebrates the kind of the energy behind jazz, or even just the energy behind musicians and their innovation and developing their craft in their own way. I think, what space do you think there is in today for Birmingham for a broken beat scene, or is that long overdue? Is it just the grumpy old men that are kind of holding it down now?
Well, you've heard of Brookup, right? So that's here in Birmingham, and like that's technically now the longest running broken beat night in the UK. So it has surpassed where it's originally from, because the co-op gigs that originally was in London, that did stop for a very long time. So to answer that question, Brookup at Hare and House, that's been going for over 10 years and more, and it's still here. It's still here. So big up to Sean Cope. You know, he's running things.
Running things. Big up, Brookup. I want to talk about this next song real quickly, and maybe I say I want to talk about it. I want you to talk about it. Okay. Tell us about this record, and then introduce the song on this record. So what's the title of this record and who's on it, and tell us about the Sonics.
Right. This is our second, well, it's not an EP, it's more of an album actually. Right. This is our remix of Andre 3000's New Blue Sun. So we've done like a whole broken beat, and actually there's some house tracks on there as well. We just remixed the whole of his joints. So this is this is me and Reon Vangèr's second attempt. We had fun making this one. We originally was gonna just remix too, because when we heard that he was coming out with a solo album and he was not rapping on it, he was just going to play a flute. I thought, okay. I like it, but there was like mixed reviews of it and stuff. And I thought to myself, there's a lot of producers that's always remix someone else's stuff and whatsoever. And I thought, why don't we just go for the whole gusto with this one? So like I said, we only were supposed to do 2. We end up just doing the whole thing. And, that came out in early this year in February. Our biggest track on here, which I've got, which is on standby for you to play, is called Wet Dreams Once buried beneath the dungeon's floor, slowly sprout into undying gardens, featuring D Don't Care. That's another producer that I forgot to mention. He's a dope producer. That's Reon Vangèr's brethren. So yeah, that's the whole project.
iMantus with Reon Vangèr with an extremely long title of the song called Wet Dreams. And this is from their record New Brook Sun. Get that on Bandcamp. Buy it, stream it, listen to it, send it to your brethren, send it to your mum or your dad, whoever. But wow, what a tune. I mean, we've been kind of just silently bopping in the studio just because the songs are so good. It's been wicked. Like, the songs are so wicked. And I'm so grateful that we got to play and listen to them in this space. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Now we're getting to the last couple of minutes of the show, but I want to talk about new ventures. We talked about the past a lot, which I think has been great to kind of inform where you are currently with your music, but also where you want to go. And you mentioned that you've been spending a lot of time in Rotterdam, and shout out to Rotterdam. It's a good space. Some great places to buy some records, actually. So I definitely think it's a DJ and crate digger's dream, as it were. But why Rotterdam, and what's bringing you there, and what kind of holds you when you go to that space?
You have to blame Colonel Red for that one. He's the one that introduced me to going down there to celebrate my 50th. So I thought, okay, there was about 12 of us that went down there, and you're right, we just went crazy record shopping. We got booked to play at a couple of places, and I managed to squeeze in a music video. So when I was down there, which is this one called Deep Concentration, and that's more of a DJ contribution thing of my love as a DJ. So this is my way of saying this is the original Brookbeat turntablist as a turntablist on a Brook track, and it's a remake of Gangstar's DJ promoting Deep Concentration. Well,
Deep Concentration, Mantus, thank you so much for joining me. Sorry, I feel like we rushed you on that one, but I really want people to hear the song. But I will say, with patience and with joy and with gratitude, thank you for being here. Thank you for chatting with me. Thank you for sharing your music with us. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. If you want to catch Mantus or Psykhomantus, follow him in Rotterdam, follow him in Birmingham, follow him when he was in London, follow him on Instagram, check out his YouTube channel. I promise you will not be disappointed. Mantus, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this is Deep Concentration, and I'll see you guys next month. Enjoy.
Refuge